Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome to my first video of 0.2.0. I know it's been probably 2.5 weeks since my last upload, and I have very mixed feelings about this patch, but I'm still playing it, still streaming it. I still have some goals I want to hit this league, but for now, here's a video of this build. Just a friendly reminder, this was not my original creation. Somebody else posted a video of a Bleed Mage build with Spear, and I thought it looked really fun, so I decided to pick it up, try and optimize it, and this is what I came up with. So, yes, you heard that right. This is a Blood Mage build. And the goal of this build is to obviously stack a bleed, and the whole purpose, 99% of the reason that we go with Blood Mage versus any other ascendancy is because elemental damage contributes to bleed buildup. So that means that with your Lightning Spear for clearing, not that Lightning Spear really ever had a problem with clearing in T15s, but with your Lightning Spear for clearing, as well as for your bossing damage, then you just stack as much damage as you can. So my first ring is 2 flats, and my second ring is 3 flats. Both of the rings are quite good on the values. Unfortunately, the suffixes aren't very good because I can assure you, if you've been playing this league and you've been trying to run spears, you'll probably have seen that good triple flat rings are extremely expensive, and it is disheartening to see that when I've only picked up 5 raw divine orbs, what an item costs with 3 out of 6 good rolls is 50 divs or something. So yeah, my rings are not very good considering, you know, what people would probably expect them to be at, but I'm quite happy with where it is, and you'll see that in the end we're able to kill bosses anyway. So yes, it is a Blood Mage build. That means instead of just having flat fizz on the weapon, flat fizz on the 2 rings and the gloves, you can actually just stack as much elemental as you can. That being said, I mean, both my rings do have fizz on them. One of the lines on the first one is fizz, and the one of the 3 on the second is fizz, and the gloves do have flat fizz and no elemental damage because I can't find a good pair of gloves. But you'll see after when I show the items that there's obviously some crazy stuff, but it's nothing too insane. And I can talk a little bit later and put some options in the max roll regarding what my recommendations are for budget gear. Because right now there's some stuff in this build that is not budget at all. Nor would I say is it required. So yes, the Blood Mage build, this is mostly because all bleeding scales, and we can aggravate bleeding with curses or on cursed targets. So we're using Blasphemy to apply a curse. As you can see, Temporal Change is being applied to enemies. This helps with survivability, slows everything down around us. I got lucky and sniped a Megalomaniac with Overwhelming Strike and Zone of Control, so my curses are quite effective. My Temporal Chains is quite effective, but we don't have that much int in this build, so we can't just go with like a level 20 Temporal Chain, so it's just there for an added layer of survivability. But as you can see, when we fully stack up life remnants, we're at about 3,200, 3,300 life. We have actually exactly 1,000 energy shield, and we're running around 80% evasion rating. I'm actually 1 level off of getting Bestial Skin, which would add in probably another like 3 to 5% evasion to overall. But this build is running Hyri's Ire, and if you don't know, Hyri's Ire is a chest piece of body armor, and you'll see it in the max roll. It basically gives you acrobatics for free, without any of the downside. Hyri's Ire adds some flat cold, a lot of dex, it's pretty good on evasion. It's not obviously amazing, you're not talking 2,000 evasion, but I have a triple socket, we're talking 1,400 evasion or so. And of course, there's the added effect of effectively having acrobatics, which is very nice because this league is rife with on-death effects, the explosions everywhere. I honestly, besides like the projectile crabs, I don't find myself really struggling against any of the enemies. And then there's just going to be some invisible explosion and you get one shot with 4,000 life or something. So Hyri's Ire is quite nice for that, but I don't use it for bossing. It's just for mapping as a quality of life. Again, like I said, it's an expensive piece. If you don't have it, there are budget options. You just go pure evasion. You can actually scale with spirit as well, and go like that. So we're using for our mapping, we're using spear, we're using scepter, and Hyri's Ire, just very normal subterfuge mask. We're getting a lot of ES, we're getting a lot of evasion rating, and the scepter allows us to get a little bit of extra spirit. But again, if you see it's Sacred Flame, you don't need a Sacred Flame. Omen Scepter is good as well. You can also get some mana regen. As you can tell, I had to mana flask a couple of times in this. But the Sacred Flame does help with adding a good chunk of damage. So, there's one full T15 juiced, and you can tell, here's the tree. So we start off obviously at Blood Mage, and we spec straight over to the Monk start to get Crashing Waves, that's some more crit damage. Here we're using the Diamond Cluster for the Against the Darkness, then I go for Crit Cluster. Again, you can see the evasion with enhanced reflexes. The Dexterity node is really just there for giving me my attributes that I need to spec everything. And then we just go straight for all the ailment nodes on the southern part of the tree, and that's about it. Here's all the gear. We're obviously running Tangle Tongue. We're using Hyri's Ire, 2 rings. And here I'm going to be switching to my bossing setup. And this is where we use Threaded Light. This is where we use Threaded Light with Crown of Eyes. And what Crown of Eyes does is it scales our spell damage up with... actually, it allows our spell damage to scale non-spell attacks. And so we use Threaded Light because of that Against the Darkness placement. We get a bunch of spirit there. My amulet has over 60 spirit. And the Crown of Eyes has a 30 spirit corrupt. So we're actually able to... run Crown of Eyes and get a ton of attack damage off of that. We also have Spellblade in the tree. That's part of the Against the Darkness zone that we're showing. So, yeah. That's a very feasible and great option. On the more budget side, you can try and snipe a good focus with, let's say, fire percent and spell percent. But based on the calculations, it was much better to use a Threaded Light. One thing is that the Threaded Light is just generic. You'll have just, let's say, 350% spell damage versus a focus where you have at best 119% spell damage and one of the elementals, which won't scale your fizz portion, or the other elements for that matter. So let's say if you have like lightning and cold, or lightning and fire on on both rings, it'll only scale. If you apply the fire focus, it'll only scale your Infernal Pride plus your fire portion of the ring. So I switched to Threaded Light, so I know the original video just used a normal focus. The original creator used a normal focus. That's one of the things that I changed to, is using the Threaded Light and getting a Spirit Corrupt on the Crown of Eyes. As you can tell, we have tons of Spirit left over, and it's not really much of a problem. Pretty much the main part of this the build now. I also switched to Wake of the Destruction for bossing, so we're going to get to Xesht very shortly. And then you're going to see we're going to switch to Wake of Destruction. But overall, you can see we're basically with Hyri's Ire on and our normal mapping setup. We have no problem just breezing through these breach stones. This is tier 4, obviously. And it's no problem. I do equip Stormlance, but honestly, it's not very much required. But it is nice for a little bit of added single target. So here's the quick swap. And you're going to see that I change my Roa. We don't need the Roa because Rake is a melee skill. I'm going to swap my Roa and my Wind Dancer because, again, Tabula Rasa has no defenses. We're not really here to scale defenses. And I'm going to put on Sniper's Mark to manually cast Sniper's Mark. And I'm going to put on Orb of Storms with Font of Rage. And the only purpose of this is to apply Rage to myself while Xesht is spawning. And here we go. So we're going to go ahead and start generating our rage. I probably went into this a little bit too quickly, but it's not too much of a big deal. And then we go Infernal Cry, Sniper's Mark. And I couldn't tell if it got applied properly, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. The Wake of Destruction applies Shocked Ground. That's one of the small optimizations I made, so we don't have to use Disengage. We're applying Shocked Ground using Wake of Destruction, and there you go. There's the one-shot kill.